Thank you for being here, Mr. Anthony Ruffalo, Certified Financial Planner.
Certified Financial Planner.
Unsolicited, our podcast.
I was thinking maybe we mark this one as solicited since it's a popular one.
Yeah. We'll give full discretion there.
Full discretion, solicited. So I've got this is my favorite Adidas. This is my Easter edition. I found this about 15 years ago at the Adidas
You look
store.
like one of those eggs that the kids color.
In Chicago. I bought this in Chicago when I was visiting a friend. I found it in the Adidas store in Chicago.
Good for
This is
you.
the crown jewel of the collection.
You're
This is
very
my
brave.
absolute favorite. I typically wear it on Easter.
Well, it matches you because you're very colorful.
I love it. So I'm on the edge of my seat. You want to talk about retirement planning process? Let's get into it. Let's go. Let's do this.
The retirement planning process is the way I see it. By the way,
How do you see it?
my name is Keith Wilson, financial advisor. I didn't introduce myself. Why is it always going to be about Mr. Ruffalo?
It's not. Nobody cares about either one of us.
Okay,
How many times
good.
I got to tell you that?
Then that makes us feel a little more.
I'm just telling you, nobody really cares. I would
more
so much
comfortable.
rather listen to like Josh
Josh
Brown
Brown.
or Animal Spirits or Andrew Huberman or Joe Rogan or I don't know. Actually, there was another good podcast I listened to the other day. The guys from The Big Short from Morgan Stanley. Somebody sent it to me as the markets were tanking, and I was listening to them. Anyway, so what do you want to talk about?
The retirement planning process.
Retirement planning process.
Which I've broken it down like this.
How do you break it down?
Break
it down,
We've
down.
got to answer these questions. When?
When?
Well, I got to have an order. When, where, what, how, and why.
And why?
This is good. I'm so excited for this podcast.
This is groundbreaking.
This is really
This is
great.
groundbreaking material.
So when we build a financial or retirement plan,
yes.
and maybe we can help folks out there that are somewhat do-it-yourselfers.
Probably not. I don't want to help any DIYers.
Okay.
If you're a DIYer, shut this off. I don't want.
No, they can glean something from it. Or they could see us. So when you build a retirement plan.
And I say that because I think they'll just wind up inevitably just messing it up. And it's not like tile.
Then they have to come to us.
Well, it's like
we gotta
if you're
fix
if you're doing carpentry or tile, you can just go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get another piece of material. If you're DIYing your own financial plan, you may not even know until 20 years later that you messed something up.
You know,
But go ahead.
DIYer at home, caulk is a great product. Ugh. It covers a multitude of sins. You can hide any crack or miscut. But anyway.
Caulk and paint makes a carpenter what he ain't.
That's right. Retirement planning process. Let's start with the when. So when you meet with someone about their retirement plan, we've got to answer that question.
When you meet or when you retire?
Yeah, I saw that. We've got to ask the question when. So when do you want to retire? And why is that so important? It sounds rudimentary, but we've got to have a target.
Yes.
Right?
It's a formula.
Now, some people I meet with working on a retirement plan, they haven't really. I ask, what's the magic age? Because some people have the magic age.
Sure.
To the day, month, and year.
Right.
Some people don't really have a magic age. I just want to see if I'm on track. Well, how are we going to know? Mm-hmm. So for some people that are what was the word? Ambiguity that you used earlier? Vagary. For some people that are vagary, we kind of pick a age.
Vague.
So it's important to know when so we can have that target.
Not important. You have to. You have to know. It's a variable input that you need in order to do the calculation.
But what I'm saying, if they're vagary about it,
yeah,
then I'm going to pick one to see if that will work.
Yeah, so how that conversation goes is like, hey, Keith, I understand you may or may not know exactly when you want to retire. If you do, great. That's the number. We're done. If you don't, then it's like, hey, we need to pick something to operate, to create a framework within in order to reverse engineer the numbers that you're looking to know.
So once we answer that question, we've got the target date, target
Yes.
age. Now the next question to ask in the process,
Is
where?
where? Like
As in,
like North Carolina,
no,
Florida?
that's not what, no.
No?
No.
Oh. Where? Pray tell.
Young grasshopper, listen to me. Where are you now?
Oh.
Okay, we know when. You want to retire at 63.
You mean
And
where
you're-
financially are
Where
you?
financially are you now? Where are you? And then they'll pull out, then we take inventory.
Yes.
All right, this is, and sometimes it's vagary when people say, well, I've got $1 million. I figure that's enough.
Or
Where is it?
Or the opposite is when sometimes I'll ask somebody, how much do you need to retire? Like just recently, I was with somebody and they said 10 million. I said, great. How did you arrive at that number? And it was kind of like, I'm not sure. Well, what kind of income do you need in retirement?
Well, yeah,
And then you can't answer. And then we start there.
but we gotta find
where?
out, where are you now?
Your CFC,
Not
your
on-
current financial condition. What's your CFC?
Not only how much have you saved in your 401k, where are you now with your debt? Where are you now with your estate planning documents? Essentially, what does your financial picture look like? Then we drill down even more. All right, I've got $1 million saved. Where is it? Where is it located? We're not talking about how it's invested and things like that. It's important to know, is this all 401k money? Is it all brokerage account? Is it all Roth? Because then we may have to do some tax allocations. Some asset location is almost more important than asset allocation.
Yeah.
So once we have that picture, then we can plug that in to the plan. Because when it comes time to unwind this thing, we have to be very careful where we are pulling it from.
And I would say it's also important to know where did the money come from?
Correct. Did it come from?
Could it be an inheritance? Could it have been a settlement of some sort? Or did you save it starting at age 21 years old and you build it up over the last 25 or 30?
Again,
Where did it come
that
from?
comes from the tax planning is where you're getting at.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where are you now? Take inventory, not only your investments, your debt, everything else. Now, okay, we've got it. All right, now we got to ask the question, what?
What?
Whiskey. Whiskey.
Cool. Say whip. Say cool. Say cool.
Cool.
Cool. Say whip.
Whip.
Now say cool whip.
Cool whip.
Cool whip. Why are you doing that thing with the H? Cool whip. What do you mean? It's a Family Guy.
So we got to say,
Cool whip. Whip.
what?
What?
What do you want
What
to
do you want?
What do you want to do in retirement? Because you got to, what do you want to do? Because we got a plan for that. Some people are very specific. I want to take 4 trips overseas a year. Okay, what does that look like going forward? Does that mean every year? For 10 years? Have you ever priced it out? And sometimes we will price it out.
Right.
In other words, what do you envision retirement to be?
What do you see?
What do you see in that crystal ball? And some people are clear. Some people, I want to play golf 2 or 3 times a week. Does that look like going forward?
Do you find more people know or don't know what it looks like?
Oh, more people don't know.
Don't know. So it's common to not know what the what is.
Correct. But that, to me, as a financial planner advisor, I'm trying to get them to envision what it looks like.
Right.
And then sometimes I can coach them. Have you ever wanted to travel? Well, yeah, I just didn't figure I could do it. Well, that's what you want to do. We'll get to the how in a minute.
Gotcha.
So what does it look like is very important. Next, we get into, all right, Here's the how. See, most people think financial plan starts with numbers only.
That would be a mistake.
It's a mistake.
That's terrible. I don't know who
I've got $1 million.
Who would think that?
Somebody told me I can pull 4% from that, and I can safely live. No. But now with the how,
some nerd told him that.
pretty smart nerd. But in any case, now we got to the how. This is the numbers part. We know.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Show me the money, Jerry.
Show me the money. That's what we're.
Show me the money, Keith.
That's what we're going to do.
How?
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 Now we know. We know all those questions of. All right, we know when. We know where you are now.
Yep.
We know what you want to do that requires money.
How?
How is where we plug in all this data. And then we make adjustments.
Right.
So sometimes we're saying, okay, you want to retire at 63. This is where you are now. This is what you want to do. How are we going to make this happen?
How are we going to create the income?
Well, we either got to save more or we got to do some Roth conversions maybe.
Yep.
Maybe you're out of whack and you've got a tax bomb hitting you. That's where, I don't know, the sexy part and all the numbers, cash flows, debt reduction plan, all of that. And sometimes we say, you want this based on what you're doing right now. How is it going to work? It's not. But how we can make it work is another story.
It's where the action comes in.
And sometimes they don't like to hear that. So that's why a retirement plan is either going to give you reality or it's going to give you confidence.
Right.
And then we have to compromise. If you wanted this, you might have to work 2 years longer. Or if you wanted this income at this age, maybe we need to reduce the income. Which is more important? To retire earlier and have the lower your income standards, or to retire later and have those income standards?
Well, I would just say, Keith, make me more money. Increase my rate of return.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Increase my rate of return so I don't have to compromise anything.
And how do we do that?
That's your job. You're the financial advisor.
No, now I'm asking you as a financial. How do you make them more money?
No, I'm being devil's advocate. I'm being a client's advocate.
I don't have the answer to that question.
Well, you just do something magically in the stock market, right?
Yeah.
You just make me more money.
Sure, no problem.
That's it?
No. The how part is how we also invest based on that time horizon and based on when we're going to pull the money out and where it's going to come from.
You got it.
Because,
optimize
the planning of how is also, hey, as we get closer to landing this plane, we need to set aside a few years of income that you'll need in cash.
Yep.
To avoid sequence of returns risk if you retire in a bad year.
Time segmented planning.
So those are all the how numbers. You got to answer those questions first before you get to the how. Now, the last one, and we'll wrap this up.
Yep.
Mr. Easter Bunny.
Love it. This is my favorite Adidas.
It looks so...
It's beautiful. I wear it every Easter.
Okay, good. Now we get to the why, which is a silly question. I ask my clients this.
Because I'm tired of working for the man.
So I ask the client, why do you want to retire? It sounds silly. And most of the time, no. Because I don't want to work. I'm ready. I'm 60 years old. I think I want to retire. And what I'm trying to get them to think of and prepare them of the why is to be ready emotionally for retirement. So, for example, a couple examples. If I ask that question, why? Why do you want to retire? Well, they've got new management, and I can't stand them. I don't like their management style, or the company's merging with somebody else. I hate my boss. They're making me work too long. What that tells me is you're retiring from something. You're not. We want you to retire to something. We want you to look forward to I want to retire because, man, I've always wanted to, I'll have more time to do the things that I enjoy, this, and this, and this. So if you're retiring from something, my advice would be, hey, why don't you ease into retirement?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe get away from that toxic atmosphere, and maybe, you know, it's not an on-off switch. Maybe we semi-retire.
Yeah. And I think that the toxicity level declines when you know you can retire.
Yes.
So I've seen that light bulb go off when you have a plan in place and you're like, hey, you know, like you have everything mapped out and you say, I can pull the trigger. I could be done right now and tell all these people to beat it and never come back to this place ever again. And all of a sudden, now it's not as toxic because you don't feel like you're stuck. So, you know, stress comes from being in an environment that is out where everything's outside of your control. When you have no control over your environment, you feel stress. When you're in an environment and you don't really care what's going on because you know you could walk out at any time, suddenly the stress level is gone. It's gone.
Have you you've heard of the FIRE movement?
Yeah.
Financially independent, retire early, where these 20-year-olds.
Yeah, until children come along, and their children are fire extinguishers. You can't fire with children. This is ridiculous.
What? Yeah,
I don't want.
This is not about fire, but.
But I get it.
Have you heard of FIRO?
FIRO? No.
FIRO.
No.
Financially independent, retire optional. So that's what you're saying.
Thing.
That's what you're saying. But I just gave it an acronym.
Yeah. Retirement optional. Yeah, I think that's
financially independent.
I think optional. This entire industry, it's about quote unquote financial freedom, and that's what everybody wants, the ability to just stand on their own 2 feet without having to report somewhere for a paycheck. I think that's what it all comes down to, and that is a stress reliever. Now, whether that actually happens or not goes back to why are you retiring? So if you actually get connection, if you actually enjoy problem solving and doing what you're doing, if you get a sense of community from work, if you actually you like really enjoy what it is that you've been doing, most people don't want to retire. They just want more autonomy over their schedule, more autonomy over their day. I've had numerous executives in their 60s tell me, man, if I could just work 2 or 3 days a week, I would still continue to work. Like if my employer could cut me a deal where, hey, I was making $500,000 a year, pay me like 60 or 100. I'll work I'll give you even more than I'm worth. But I still want to have some contribution. I still want to work a little bit. I don't want to be completely disconnected. Don't necessarily need the money, but I would like the compensation. They'd take that deal all day long. All day long they take that deal because they don't want to just completely disconnect because there is some level of enjoyment, but they just want to alleviate like a little bit more free time, but not 7 days a week.
Right.
That's what that's my experience. That's what I've seen.
Yep. So the other, the why. We want to make sure you're not retiring from something, but to something.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand,
I love that. It's great.
Now, on the other hand, you have different fingers.
Mm-hmm. What stupid analogy? Well, go ahead.
No, on the other hand, I thought that was pretty funny. On the other hand, some people, no, I really enjoyed the work. I'm ready to go to the next stage of retirement. I'm looking forward to doing this and that and the other.
Yeah.
That's good. And sometimes they're specific, the 2-3 trips a year. And then I've got to prepare them emotionally. Well, that might be 2 or 3 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing with the rest of your time?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had numerous people retire and said, I can't do this.
Right.
Because they don't have a plan, a lifestyle plan.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know, I don't know the actual statistic, but the average retired person does watch TV far more than the non-retired person.
Oh, sure.
I mean, we're talking hours.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I watch a lot of TV myself, but we want you to enjoy. We want you to be ready emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is be prepared of the loss of identity. You might have had this culture, maybe you were an engineer, you were a therapist, or whatever you did. What do you call yourself now? It gets in your mind. So my advice or tip is connect socially. Keep connections with not on social media, but join groups, join leagues, volunteer to keep you active socially with other people.
Yeah, I forget what the statistics are, but women are much better than men. So female widowers are much better than male widowers because women keep a network of connections, whereas men are usually like, I've got like one or two people that I talk to, and then if the wife passes away, the husband has a horrible time because that's usually the social connection,
right.
the social fabric. Whereas female widowers usually do way better in retirement or older because they have a much larger network of connection.
I remember when my mom and dad retired, pretty much at the same time. And you got to understand, my dad, growing up, he was a very quiet man. He came
Smart.
home.
He's a smart man. I've learned that quiet men are smart men.
Yeah, very smart. But he was quiet. For half of my child life, he worked 2 jobs. He would get off at 4:30 from Western Electric, which is now AT&T, and he would go to Sears and sell suits at night. But after that calmed down or whatever, he didn't have a lot of friends. I never see him. He never went out with friends. Nothing like that. And I just remember when he retired, I got him into golf a few years before he retired. He just took off with it. But I thought when they retired, I said, what are they going to do? Because my mom and dad are kind of opposites.
Yeah.
My mom is very outgoing. She wants to be center of attention, and he's almost an introvert.
Right.
Well, the golf thing helped him because he joined golf leagues. Mom was a master quilter. She had quilting clubs, but they also did a lot of traveling. Not, flamboyant or overseas, but several times a year. So what I'm getting at, they found their connections, what they loved to do, and had the social connection there.
Right.
Separately, they traveled together, just those two. They also invited friends every once in a while to travel with them. So, I was just talking with my mom, because my dad passed away a few years ago, and she was reflecting on their life together. And she said, we had a great life. We had a great retirement. And she was naming everywhere they went. We went to Switzerland. We went here. We did that. We invited friends. And so that's what I'm getting at. Have a plan emotionally when that answers the why. Why you want to do it.
Right.
Plan emotionally. So, when, where, what, how, why.
Why? I think that pretty much sums it up.
That covers it. That's it for this episode. Of Unsolicited.
Unsolicited.
Do you like that sign?
It's a little hard. I do like it. It kind of looks like a 4th grader.
I did it in about 5 minutes.
I can tell.
It was when you wanted to rename the podcast to Unsolicited.
Yeah.
And I just went outside and...
I was envisioning more of like
something professional.
No, like a red rubber stamp. Like you're marking a piece of paper unsolicited with like a rubber stamp.
I got it.
Almost like you're kind of like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like it's been processed. Boom. Like a trade ticket has been,
all right.
And you mark it unsolicited.
Listeners, viewers, what do you think of his idea? Let us know. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you got value from this.
Probably not.
If you did, consider subscribe, follow, like, all that wonderful stuff. Listening to the podcast, Apple, Spotify. You can check out the video version on Ruffalo's channel. What is it? Ruffalo Wealth Management?
No, it's just Anthony Ruffalo.
Anthony Ruffalo. Mine's just Keith Wilson.
Keith Wilson.
That financial guy. Until
Boom.
then, I hope we answered your questions. How about that?
Nice. Good job, buddy. Bye. Good to see you.
Let's go eat.
All right.
Hard work really does come and pay off. Every day working, we don't really need no days off. It was a struggle, but thank God that we stand tall. Now we pulling up, looking strong like we gonna brawl. They be lucky if they standing on 10 toes. They don't know how we roll, but they gonna know.